Good morning, everyone. Today I'm here to tell you a little bit about the 12th Prime Minister of Canada, Louis Saint Laurent. Louis Saint Laurent was born in Compton, Quebec on February 1st, 1882. He was the son of a French-speaking father, Jean-Moise Saint Laurent, and English-speaking Irish mother, Mary Ann Broderick. Louis spoke only French with his father and only English with his mother. A quote by Louis states, "I didn't know at first there were two languages in Canada. I just thought there was one way to speak to my father and another way to speak to my mother." Louis Saint Laurent married Jeanne Renault in 1908. Together they had 5 children, 2 sons and 3 daughters. The couple built a large 15-room home on Grand Alley. This is known as Quebec City's most fashionable street. Louis Saint Laurent was educated at home before attending a religious college where he studied priesthood. He soon became interested in law. He transferred to Laval University shortly after, where he received his degree in law. When he graduated, he was offered a Rhodes Scholarship. A Rhodes Scholarship supports international students to attend the University of Oxford. It remains one of the prestigious international fellowships to this day. He turned down this offer to practice law immediately. He joined a Quebec law firm and began a career that lasted 25 years. Louis Saint Laurent was involved with the Liberal Party his whole life. His father had run as a Liberal candidate in many provincial elections. Louis stood by and watched throughout his whole childhood. In 1941, Saint Laurent was 59 years old and was considering retirement, although fate had a different idea for him. Prime Minister Mackenzie King's Quebec lieutenant had died, and King chose Louis Saint Laurent to fill his position. He then won a by-election in 1942 and became a cabinet minister. Later in 1948, Saint Laurent's retirement was long overdue, but King and the Liberal Party thought there was no one better qualified to be the next Prime Minister of Canada. During his first election, Saint Laurent shocked Canadians with his common touch and his ability to connect with people. Louis Saint Laurent became Canada's Prime Minister on November 15, 1948, and served until 1957. During his time as Prime Minister, there were many major events that happened. As Prime Minister, Louis Saint Laurent oversaw the joining of Newfoundland into Canadian Confederation as the 10th province in 1949. The Liberals continued their program of social reform with many improvements to pensions and health insurance plans, as well as legislated funds for hospital insurance. He also appointed the first ever Canadian Governor General. During his reign, Canada played an important role in resolving the Suez Crisis in 1956. He also contributed to the UN force in the Korean War. All wartime debts were paid off during the ministry of Saint Laurent, and Canada enjoyed economic prosperity. Louis attempted to pass legislation to build a natural gas pipeline from Alberta to central Canada. The pipeline debate proved the Liberals' undoing. Their attempt to pass this legislation met with fierce disagreement in the House of Commons. The introduction of closure further infuriated the opposition, and the Liberals were discredited in the eyes of the public. After 22 years in power, the Liberals lost the election on June 21, 1957. Louis Saint Laurent was happy to finally retire and resigned from his position as the Liberal Party leader in January 1958. The legacy of Louis Saint Laurent was his kind and gentle leadership. He strived to give Canada good government. Saint Laurent had a calm demeanor and rational logic. His knowledge of law and his dislike of political gamesmanship won him the respect of King, his cabinet colleagues, the people of Canada, and oftentimes even the opposition. He had a special ability to connect with the people of Canada and their children. After his election in 1948, all children referred to him as Uncle Louis. Louis Saint Laurent was most known for his goal of having a unified country. He led the Liberal government to 2 election victories. The Saint Laurent years are known as some of the most productive years in Canadian history. He is known to be one of Canada's prime ministers that changed the world of politics. Louis Saint Laurent had many prosperous years as our country's leader until his downfall in 1957 when the Liberal Party began the pipeline debate. The public thought Louis was abusing his power in Parliament, which caused him to lose the next election. Though he was no longer Prime Minister of Canada, we never lost the respect and affection we always had towards Louis Saint Laurent. Louis Saint Laurent happily retired in 1958 and lived out his years with his wife, kids, and grandchildren. He died on July 25, 1973, at the outstanding age of 91. A famous quote by the respected Louis Saint Laurent is, "If we are to preserve civilization, we must first remain civilized." Thanks for watching.